hear podcasting from whichever platform I choose. Earlier I did Podbean, but the audio got ruined, so screw that. I'm even thinking about removing it. So let's see. This will be my latest vlog. You get it? Vlog is a video log, and then you have vlogs from everyone on the internet. So this is the rich sound of Abby. And yes, it's me in sound. So let's see where we go from here. And anyway, in any case, so yes, it's been a while, and I wanted to give some meaningful, like, I don't know, content. I haven't gone that way in a while. I've been mostly doing TikToks, which is ridiculously easy, but not as great as it sounds. Um, in any event, so yeah, it is March 2nd, and it is later than when I originally recorded my first podcast, so this will be fun. Um, yeah, wow, what an interesting slam on the weather, too. We went from 20 and 30 degrees all the way up to almost 60 today. 6-0. Oh, my land. Mother Nature has gone bipolar. You heard it here first. Alright, so let's get, well, beyond that. Now, in any case, so, alright, I have a short break from college classes right now, and thanks to the way the college and maybe even Access VR has screwed up, I may be on an extended break, at least until fall. But don't worry your pretty little head. I will get them back on track. I assure you. So aside from that, during my intermittent, like, break, aside from, like, some online gaming, I have been doing, Linux phones, which is actually working out quite well. As my initial test board, I chose a Google Pixel 3a XL, which, speak of the devil, which may not be the most lucrative hardware out there, but was definitely better than the Google Pixel 2 line. And it also had a pretty good price tag in comparison to other hardware I was looking at, will be looking at, going forward. My next test board for expanded support will definitely cost, yeah, it'll cost a penny, but I need to make sure this was a viable solution first. And it was. It worked out pretty good. I got Ubuntu Touch, and I can make web apps for most anything, including YouTube, and it works like a dream. The camera, when interfacing apps of any kind, is kind of problematic when you're trying to stream, so I'll be working on that. However, streaming audio is flawless. I have Spotify installed via Waydroid, which Waydroid is a way to access Android from a Linux system, and it works beautifully. Oh my god, it's flawless. Spotify plays like a dream, and to boot, the Bluetooth interface picks up my hearing aids, and I can stream right into them like, oh my god, it is just too awesome. Um, yeah, so there's that. Aside from that, Libertine, I'm currently having problems with. Um, so let me discuss that. Libertine is a way you can install and run desktop Linux apps, like regular full-fledged PC Linux apps like Firefox. And I sort of want to get that going, because running this other browser they have isn't really up to snuff. And I'm running Firefox through Waydroid, which, again, flawless. I swear to God, it's a dream. Um, yeah, I mean, once I get Libertine, I'll be able to install things like OpenOffice, which will be nice. And the fact that the apps run so well through Waydroid is also brilliant, because it means that I can actually run Android apps without falling into Google ecosystem or having those apps access private data on my phone or from areas of my phone, which is brilliant. Absolutely 100% brilliant. Now, let's discuss one thing about Waydroid. If you want the Google ecosystem, that means the YouTube Music, all those little apps that they come with on there. You generally have to install the Google services, which means the whole ecosystem. And likewise, here's the brilliant part of it. You can also install the Amazon ecosystem if you're more invested in that. And I find Amazon much more friendly in this case, and people can come at me in the comments, but the one benefit of the Amazon ecosystem is you don't have to be chained to a service layer. And let me explain. So, Google ecosystem requires you install and a certain amount of inbred or embedded services to your phone. It doesn't matter what phone you have. You can have a Samsung or that. They all install them. If you run Google Play, you, my friend, have a ton of embedded Google services that are hijacking your phone. So let me get back to brass tacks. So I can't run things like the YouTube Music streaming service, which is fine. I have Spotify. And I can ironically run YouTube through a web app in Linux natively, so I'm good with that. Yeah. The next thing I'm gonna try though is I wanna try Podbean. So Podbean is like one of my choices for podcasting. It's actually my primary choice for podcasting. And I really want to get back into it, as well as YouTube. If not for the camera issues, I would have done YouTube videos by now. But yeah, it is what it is. And but honestly speaking, though, the native camera app and the native Linux Ubuntu Touch apps that run with the camera do so beautifully. So it's some sort of interface problem, and it needs to be worked out, and it will be eventually, but it's there. But as soon as it is, Yeah, I'm on board. And this doesn't only affect like Waydroid apps running on like them running as Android apps. These also affects like if you try to stream to YouTube directly through the web browser or a YouTube web app. It Yeah, the camera has problems with that. So something ultimately that has to be worked on. Otherwise, it's a pretty beautiful experience and I'm loving it. Um I've actually been like trying to post more to Facebook through it and it's pretty good. I can't lie. So yeah, that's a beaut. Um Aside from that, so I also been watching and catching up on media. So I have a few shows I've been thinking about. If you haven't seen it yet, I thoroughly advise you go and look at The Expanse on Amazon Prime. It's quite a good show, and it has. It's like a what if you took Star Trek and made a darker series. Humanity then discovered these colorful aliens who were left to our own devices to explore our own solar system and with our own politics. And it really can get engrossing at times, but it's really good. I advise it. And aside from that, let's see. Also, you. I had originally watched most of the first two seasons, and now thanks to my electrologist, I gotten back to it, and I'm into season 4 right now, and it's pretty damn good. Um, for those who don't know what You is sort of a Dexter type show on Netflix, and it's pretty good. And I have to be honest, there's a up and downs about it, but ultimately it's really good writing. And if you were into Dexter and were thoroughly disappointed, um, as I was in the reboot that they did of Dexter, then you're gonna fall in love with You. So, since I spoke about it, The Expanse, let's cover something else. Star Trek. So we have 3 series to cover in this case. Um, First of all, and oh, so if I had a way of summarizing You for those who are listening, it would probably be combining like Dexter with Pretty Little Liars. And if you're in both of those shows, or even one, I swear you're gonna love this. But yeah, so let's get back to Star Trek. We have Picard, which is back for its 3rd and final season. And I have to be blunt. I knew they were gonna kick back old school to try and save face, but I never did thought they would do it this badly. They really have like missed the point on this, and they're bringing back old storylines, old characters, and they're not doing it justice at all. And don't get me wrong, I like the old actors, and I like even some of the newer ones. They really do bring a light to this, and this is after all, good Star Trek acting. But yeah, there's just something missing from it. Um, as far as evolving, I feel like I'm watching like a bad TNG era movie, or like Star Trek, The Undiscovered Country redone, and it's just really bad. And I don't want to give any spoilers on this audio because I'm not sure how many people listening actually have watched it or interested. And but yeah, it's horrible. Um, then we get to what else? Star Trek Discovery, which I think ended better than what they began last season with. And my hope for it, looking at Picard, is they don't drop the ball on this, which they're somewhat looking like they might, and I hope they don't. They really don't have to do a lot of rethinking here. They captured the type of audience they wanted, and I think it would be so beautiful if they would work towards keeping that audience rather than backtracking like they did with Picard and try and recapture the older, less entertained audience. Because they're not going to get that audience back. Because they've gone to what my third show to talk about will be, which is Star Trek Brave New Worlds. And I think, honestly, this was probably the best thing they could have done. They've taken all the lore of old Star Trek, old Star Trek. They've taken all the story writing of modern times, like Expanse would, for example, but they've combined it with modern cinematography and all this wonderful stuff, which makes it juicy and engaging and makes you want to come back. And Pike, I really think Pike was great. Pike, even for the shortfalls, is really good. And I love the fact they can do this without falling back into 1960s style like decorum, because Star Trek in the 60s was done the way it was because they had no choice. They didn't have the ability. They didn't have... No amount of funding would have made that up at the time. And so it's sort of good to see what they've done now. And as far as like, I think it's also beautiful that they just haven't killed like the whole fight they've worked to now. I mean, 'cause while some of it may be like, okay, I can do without that, a lot of it has evolved the story, and in a good way, and they keep that here, and I think that's beautiful. I think it's classic that one honest complaint that most of the older Star Trek fans have, most of them being men, is that there are too many women. Like, seriously? Bro, grow up. Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I think this is about it and where I'll drop. And I think going forward, a lot of this stuff I'll cover in individual episodes. maybe. And yeah, maybe some more on the like Linux phone. I'm kind of like curious to explore Droidian, which, for those who don't know, is a more pure Debian distro called Mobian, made to run on mobile phones, and that could be quite interesting. Of course, Ubuntu is what it is. It will always be an end user choice, but there are other options out there. And I think, exploring them doesn't hurt. Aside from that, this is me signing off, your favorite Abigail, on March 2nd. And yeah, it's been a beautiful warm day. Hopefully tomorrow doesn't get too cold. I hope it's not that cold outside. But you can always listen to this to keep you warm. Have a night.